Tonye Patrick Cole, an alumnus of the University of Lagos and Harvard Business School, is the co-founder and former group executive director of Sahara Group, one of Nigeria's largest energy conglomerates operating in 38 countries around the world with over 4,000 employees and an annual turnover of $11 billion. Mr. Cole also spearheaded and developed work carried out by the Sahara Foundation globally. He continues working to inspire the youth of Africa through charities such as his NGO, Nehemiah Youth Empowerment Initiative. In September of 2018, Mr. Cole made a life-changing decision to pursue a career in politics. He formally resigned from all board and executive roles held in Sahara Group to contest for the gubernatorial seat in his home state of Rivers. In December 2019, New Africa magazine named Mr. Cole amongst the top 100 most influential Africans alive. He is a motivational speaker, writer, teacher, and mentor. He is married to Dr. Sylvia Cole and blessed with 3 children.
Now we're talking about something that is just as important, and I thank God that the foundation has been built on man and marriage, and then man and money. These are all issues that affect how a man behaves. The first aspect of man and money is that we all grow up as men with an understanding that we must be the ones to provide, that money is critical, it's important, we must have money and all, and the foundation is key. How we make money, how we relate with money, what we think money is meant for, and how we use money are some of the things that in my journey through life, I have discovered that if you don't have an understanding of any of those things, you will not have an understanding of how to deal with money. The Bible talks about many things regarding money. For those who hate money, and if there's any that hates money, they would have enough quotations in the Bible to tell you about why money is bad. To those who love money, they will find things to tell you why money is good. Either way, you would find enough biblical quotations to describe money. But what I will do, just like RMD did, is I'll just give you life experiences and how my relationship with money has evolved over the years, and what it has come to mean to me, and how I've related to it. Like most people, our introduction to money first comes up when we're young, usually either in our late teens, or most especially when we're in university. At some point when you have to hustle, when you have to go out and make some money one way or another. When you begin to realize that money brings some independence that you want, and you want to show off that you have some of it. At that time, a lot of the lessons that our parents teach us about money, how to spend, how to bring back change, how to make sure that you don't go beyond your means and all. If you're a rascally child, which I was, those things fly over your head, and you really don't want to believe in that. So I enter university, and I'm in University of Lagos at the time, and issues like, oh, let's go to a party, let's sponsor this, or fund some expedition, crazy expedition that we want to fund comes up. And you have tried going to your parents, and you just know back then, maybe these days it's easier, but back then you can't go to your father, you're in school, and you are looking for money to party. Are you crazy? No way. So that becomes a problem. And we learn very, very early and very quickly how to lie so that we can get money. And that foundation as a youth goes through, and it's one of the most dangerous foundations that you can begin your journey with a relationship with money doing. And so as friends growing up, we found out that there are people who are stealing their mother's gold, some people who are doing all sorts of things that they will sell so that they can travel, go abroad, do this, and just have a relationship that shows that you're going, that you have money and you are belonging. You ask for money for books that you are not going to buy. You get the money and you use it so that you can either take a girl out or just show that you have arrived. But just think about all of these things. Each one of them, right, is teaching you fundamentally how to get money under false pretense. Doesn't matter whether you call it 419, whether you call it whether you're just being sharp. What you are learning is that your relationship with money means that when you want to spend it on something of that you want for yourself, then you're going to have to lie to get it. And it's one of the most basic rudimental things that must change in society, because that is how we teach growing up as teenagers and in university. And so it's wrong, and it's something that we needed to address. What does that do as we move forward? At the same time in university, when I was growing up, I already had a relationship with work. When as we needed to get money, I'd realized that my parents would not give me certain things, and I had some talents and some skills. So I was already working, building models. And in building models, I was making money. I got some monies for school fees, upkeep, and all of that. But the second thing in a relationship with money has meant that you must address very, very quickly, if not, it's going to destroy you down the line. It's contentment. Are you able to live within your means? I discovered very early, even though I was working and we were doing all these things within the clubs and all, that if you are not content and you didn't learn to live within your means, no amount of money you get will be enough. And the minute money is not enough for you, regardless of whether you're working or whether you're using false pretense to get money, it will never be enough. Money and the need for money to do things that you can always feel that you will justify leads to something that is called greed. And it builds slowly. Once you cannot find the fundamental basis for which to deal and control your need for money, because you cannot live within your means, something is going to happen to you sooner rather than later. And I'm grateful that a lot of these lessons that I'm telling you happened to me when I was still young and when I could readjust. What will happen to you when you begin to live above your means, when you are seeking money to do things that, as a young man, they just seem normal. You want to go out, you want to go to a party, you want to do this, you want to impress a girl with something, you want to buy her something, you want to travel with your friends and go abroad, whatever it is, under whatever guise. You are living above your means. What happens? Sooner or later, I started work early, so I think it was my first job when I come back to Nigeria, and I was earning in dollars. I was very, very well paid. I had a driver, I had an office. It was a great job, great job. Now, I was already making, at the time, I was 24 or so, and I was already making more money than I needed to spend, that I needed at the time. Really, I could have lived within within that income, if there was discipline to go with it. But because you felt that, you know what, you always need more money. There's something that you need and all of that. I fell for one of the most basic, simple 419 scams that was occurring in those days, that essentially wiped out my entire savings. Every single thing I had was taken, boom, at 24 or 25. Now, today, thinking back at it, it may look like small money, but for me, it was my entire savings. It was something I've been saving through and all of that, that was taken with a very simple 419 skill. What was the underlying foundation of those things that were wrong? First, you saw money as a means to everything. Get money at all costs. You thought you were doing okay. Your life was, you were not carrying a gun. You were not stealing from people at gunpoint. You are not kidnapping people to use to make money and all of that. No, but the fundamental is the same. The fundamental is exactly the same. Each one of them is harnessed on something that is called big eye, where you are doing and you are looking at more than you can get. You are not content. You are not living within the principles of living within your means and growing slowly. And so I was very, very grateful, because when that happened to me, it suddenly taught me very, very quickly how to readjust and begin to look at life again and look at the fundamentals that my father and the church had been trying to preach for a long time, which one was not listening to. Your relationship with money. Who should control who? Should you control money or should money control you? Should you chase money or should money chase you? Should you discover a service that you are giving? And if you have that service and you give it, will money come from that service? Or must you pursue money at all costs in every way, no matter what? It was a lesson that I learned the hard way. And I learned that lesson because somebody essentially just scammed me and took all my money. Now, so moving forward, I had to start again. And I'm so grateful that I was able to begin afresh. So I began again. I began building up a savings. I had to bring all of my lifestyle within my income at the time. And this time, my life changed completely because the relationship that I then had with building money and the relationship with focusing and chasing money changed completely. Fast forward to setting up Sahara and coming into the terms of now, how do you then deal with money and whether money can grow? So what's your relationship with money moving forward? And so coming into the company and starting again, now I had to take all my savings again and everything that I built over the years, because now I was very diligent about building savings and investing it properly. This time around, we now took it, put it into the business and began to grow the business. But I was now well prepared for being able to live well within my means, such that at this point in time, because I had seen the extreme of living outside my means, I could cut myself and my partners so that we can walk inside our comfort. Now, believe it or not, for the first, having set up the company and putting all our income into the company, we made a very simple decision, which was now easier to make, that everything, the company comes first. The money that was being made goes into building the brand and not building ourselves personally. The money goes into making sure that the company itself was the one that stood, and that if the company can survive, then we can survive. And so for the first year and a half, first 2 years roughly, there was no salary taken out of the company. Now, not everybody can do this. And we didn't take salary out of the company. We stayed there. We survived essentially on the barest necessity. And when I say barest necessity, in this period, and this is where RMD's discussion about his wife is critical. At this time, when we were setting up the company, my wife was working in Louth. Now, it was her salary as a house officer and junior registrar in Louth at the time that was taking care of myself, herself, and our one child at that time when we started Sarah. Remember, I wasn't taking any salary. But we understood at this point how to live well within our means, and we understood well that money was not going to drive us. The relationship that we had was what was important on two factors. One, work factor, build a business, build a brand, and let it drive. Two, home factor, stay at home, love your wife, let there be an understanding as to how you drive the business and you go through. So that began. She supported us till we found the footing to begin to grow, for the company to become settled. And then we now enter into the third phase of money. Now you've been struggling, you've been working very hard. Your business is now making some money, it's coming in, other factors start coming into your life. So now people need money, they need help. All sorts of people are asking you for money and all of that. And you also have to deal with the home front. And I realized that at this point, and this was one of the rocky parts in our marriage, and I will talk about money and marriage because the man, as RMD has spoken, has to deal with the wife, and then there's money inside the marriage which we have to now deal with. And so when it now transferred back, And I was now able to start taking care of the home and making the expenses, school fees, generator, all those things that young men have to do in marriage. I know. I now found out that I was getting into a situation with my wife every month where you are coming back home at the end of the month when you know money is coming at that point, and she's going to get you a bill that it's time for a fight, because the bill will come and you're wondering where you're going to get the money, all sorts of things, and you start having issues at home. And I realized that money that we thought had been tamed and put out of the bracket was now creeping up to become a major problem within the home front. And so, as a man who was going out now, bringing in the money, how do you deal with money in marriage in such a way that it does not destroy your marriage? Now, remember, as we're speaking, that you have to figure out where to put money. Are you the one to control money, or is money to control you? And then I realized one day in prayer, and this is why it's good to have your fundamental underlying principle, being that God has to give you wisdom to drive everything. And one day, the Holy Spirit just said to me that, you know what? Part of the reason why you're having a problem at home, right, is that there's no transparency between you and your wife in your earnings. Okay, so now you're earning and all of that, and she's asking for money. You query, you call, but she does not know the full package of what you're earning and how it goes. And RMD said he did that early on in his marriage. Maybe second marriage taught him that it was the better way. He might have learned it from the first one. So I went this time around, called my wife one day, sat her down, brought out all the accounts that we had, showed her every single account, what the earning was, where I was going, how much I was earning, and all of that. And then I handed it over to her. And I said to her, here, these are the accounts. You take care of it. You deal with it. Whatever you need from the account, please feel free. My needs, because of my first experience, had always been small. So I did not need much. And I knew that I could survive on the barest minimum because it had become a lifestyle for me. So I knew it wasn't a problem for me. I didn't need much at all. So and most of the expenses were being spent on the house, on the school, on children. So there are things that she was already controlling. So I said, feel free, here, that's the account. Now, what did that do in that relationship with money? The first aspect of it in the home is that every single fight that had to do with money disappeared. The second thing that happened was this: the expenses that used to be high came down. Why? Because there is no woman that wants to bankrupt her family. She does not want to bankrupt herself and all of that. So they begin to see, and women are extremely good when it comes to balancing your books. They are very good when it comes to spending within their means and all of that. And so when I handed that over to her, boom, our expenses and the accounts began to balance extremely well. And that helped a lot. Now, let me go to the last part of it, because I have maybe 5 minutes or so, and I'm done.
About 2 minutes, if you can, yes.
2 minutes, okay.
Yes.
So the last part in 2 minutes is, how do you then grow your business, right, from being a startup business where money is concerned to a multi-million, billion naira business, whatever it is that you want it to be. Let me surprise you with telling you this, right? If you want your business to become a multi-billion-dollar business, then your focus should not be on the money. The minute you look on the money part of the business, in other words, oh, it's about money, you want to make it, you are going to do it on this, that business will never become that. And that is the funny thing that we learn throughout. What should it be about? You must always ensure that you are relevant to meeting a need. Service-oriented, they must need you. You must be relevant at every single point. They must look for you, chase you. You see, the minute you go about service and purpose, then what happens is that money begins to follow you. Why? Because it says, there are certain things that the Bible then says, it says, find you a man who is diligent with his work. He will stand before great kings. The point here is that as we began to grow our business, we found out that right from the beginning, it was always about positioning ourselves in such a place that we must deliver a service that is essential to to whoever it is that we're dealing with. Once we made sure that that service was essential to it, then the money came. The money will follow your purpose. The money will follow your service delivery. The money will follow it if you decide and you know who you are and why you're doing it and what you're doing. And money would always come that way.